Alice Gross goes on. Her family has issued a new statement this morning asking for anyone who has information to come forward. They've also described the agony that every day is bringing them.
Detectives leading the search for Alice will stage a reconstruction this morning, retracing her steps along the Brentford Lock Canal where she was caught on CCTV 4 weeks ago. She hasn't been seen since. Well, our reporter Rebecca Williams is at Brentford Lock and joins us now. What are you expecting to see there today, Rebecca?
Well, as you say, this reconstruction will take place later on today. It's expected to focus here on the Brentford Lock where Alice Gross was last seen on CCTV. And as you can see, there are several pictures up, posters of her in this local community, appealing for any information about her disappearance. Now, as part of this renewed appeal, there will be new pictures of Alice released and a map of where she was last seen. Of course, she disappeared a month ago today. She was last seen by her family at home, and there's been a huge police search in the last few weeks. Specialist dive teams, dogs teams, and around 8 police forces have been involved with the search. Now, a knife has been found that's currently being examined by forensics, and the police say at this stage they have no evidence to suggest that she has come to any harm. But in the last few hours, her family have issued a statement. They say they miss her, they want to hear her voice, they want her home, and they say every day brings more agony.
Rebecca, thank you very much indeed.
Well, listening to that was the MP for Ealing North, Stephen Pound, who's also a neighbour of Alice's family. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Thanks for coming in. I mean, as a neighbour, you know the family very well. They live literally on the same road.
Well, they're down at the end of my road, and Alice is a very, very popular young girl. She is a great musician, great songwriter. She's extremely well known locally, and she's somebody. I mean, that shouldn't make a difference, but it does. And the real agony that people feel. I can't begin to describe what's actually happening in Hanwell at the moment. This is that the local police are working brilliantly. The family and the local community are together in a way that you can hardly imagine. Every single lamppost, fence, gate has got the yellow ribbon round it. And my house has got it. Everyone's house has. The entire community is united for. And it's that statement from the family this morning makes me just weep for Alice's mum and dad and her sister. It's so, so painful.
And frustrating that at this point in the investigation, there is still nothing new that we can report, is there?
No, I mean, there are some things have been found in the canal, this happens. But, there are some things that are new, and I think in some ways that I think there's almost a difficulty here, because the police locally have been absolutely stunningly amazing. We had 600 police officers out last weekend. They've looked at more CCTV than they did in the whole of the London riots in 2011. There's more, they imagine the amount of work that's gone into it. But there's still some confusion about exactly where we stand with the European arrest warrant, which I think Commander McNulty has now made absolutely clear. And it, you know, I slightly wish it had been made clear a bit sooner. But in terms of news, the police are in Latvia at the present time, trying to get the information. And so there is that information coming through.
And to explain, this is because their main suspect, this man called Arnis Zalkans, is from Latvia originally. They're there, they're trying to see whether he's returned there and trying to find him. You're saying that on the ground you have nothing but praise for the police,
Absolutely.
but you must be concerned that it seems to have taken quite a long time for the police in London to make real contact with their counterparts over in Latvia to try to find this man.
Well, the police are in an incredibly difficult position here. They did actually make a phone call a couple of weeks ago. They made a telephone inquiry. They've only got police officers there. Now, maybe it would have been better to have police officers sooner. I don't know. That's a command decision. I'm not going to second-guess them on that. But the problem here is 2 men have already been arrested and released. Mr. Zalkans hasn't been arrested, you know, obviously, and there isn't a warrant out for his arrest. So there's a difficult legality there. For me, the real problem here, what my constituents are furious about, hurt, angry and furious, is how on earth did we not know that this man, who had been sentenced to 9 years in prison, then cut down to 8 and then released after 7, was allowed into this country without us knowing? Because recently he actually attacked a young girl, a similar age to Alice, in West London. Now, that case wasn't pursued for various reasons, but had we had that information, then I can't help believe that the CPS wouldn't have looked at it in a slightly different way. So the real problem here is the Home Office. We need to get more data sharing. You know, we are a European country. We're part of the EU. Latvia is part of the EU. Why aren't we sharing this data?
We should stress again that this man is a suspect, that there's no international arrest warrant in place, and he hasn't been arrested on suspicion.
We can't prejudice the trial later on. That is the real problem. There's a lot of things people want to say, And I think the single most important thing we do at the moment is support the police and pray for the family, because this is a family in great pain. Ultimately, we're going to have to sort out this issue of the protocols with Latvia and with other EU countries. But right now, let's just find Alice. Let's bring her home.
Okay, Stephen Pound, MP, thank you very much indeed.
It is just coming up to 10 to 8.